So coming just into this nice easy beginning, just a gentle stretch for the spine. And then if you are a little bit tight in your back or in your hips might not reach all the way down to your heels. That's totally no problem. You can either just kind of stay up as you are, or some people like to put something between their hips and their heels, like a blanket or even a block or kind of a rolled up yoga mat, something like that. If your head doesn't reach the ground, no worries. Rest it on your forearms, maybe your fists, maybe another blanket or some sort of comfortable spot for your forehead. And then just close your eyes softly. Take a moment to arrive in your practice. You don't have anything to worry about for the next hour. Just breathe and stretch. Listen to my cues, but more importantly, listen to your body. With your arms out in front of you, start to just push down and forward gently with your hands, melting your hips a little further back onto your heels. Take your attention to your breath and start to breathe in slowly and deeply through your nose, and slowly and deeply out through your mouth. And feel a little bit of space being created in your spine, right? So as if each vertebra was just getting a little bit further away from the next one, right? So just breathing a lot of length. Thinking about opening, stretching, relaxing, and also energizing. Another couple deep breaths here. Feel free to roll your forehead back and forth a little bit, massaging that point right between your eyebrows. This point can tend to hold a lot of stress, so just kind of relax. And then very gently make your way to tabletop pose, hands and knees. So here we start to add in just a little bit of movement, just for mobility, just to kind of warm up your spine, and think about beginning to link your breath with your movement. So this is a vinyasa style practice, which means linking breath with movement. And it's generally one movement takes the full span of an inhale or an exhale. So as you inhale, think about dropping your belly, lifting your hips, lifting your head. This is called cow pose. Really open the front of your chest here. And then as you exhale, reverse that motion round your spine, curl your tailbone and your head towards each other. Cat pose, kind of like an angry cat. And then inhaling to cow pose, lift your hips, lift your head, open your chest. Exhale, cat pose, round everything in, curl and press the ground away with your hands. So just keep moving like this for a few minutes. And sometimes what I like to do is move a little side to side, kind of stretching out my side waist. You can take circles with your hips, with your rib cage, whatever you need, whatever feels good to kind of get moving. While we're here, I'd like to ask you, I just got my hair cut the other day, and I don't cut my hair very often, so it was kind of a big deal for me. But I wanted to let you know that happened, and I decided to wear it half up and half down today to kind of change it up a little bit. I usually wear my hair up in ponytails for yoga workout videos, but I wanted to try something different. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer all up, all down, half up, half down? And then in general, are you a short hair person, a long hair person? I really, really like long hair, but it does get in the way sometimes. And then nice and slow, take your hands right under your shoulders. Spread your fingers super wide, tuck your toes, and straighten your legs into plank pose. So this is the first kind of active pose of this practice. High plank position is like the top of a push-up. So I like to sort of rock around a little bit, get my bearings, get a really strong base of support. So the big toe ball-mounds of your feet should be like pretty firm into the ground. And you're going to press your heels back towards the back of your mat as you reach your heart forward. And then it's important not to lock out your joints. So just keep a really gentle micro bend in your arms. Curl your tailbone in so that you take that kind of sway out of your low back. You don't ever want to be sagging down. And if this starts to happen, just put your knees on the ground, right? So you want a straight line from your knees to your shoulders. This is modified plank, and you get the exact same benefits. It is just as good for you. Just takes a little bit of stress off your low back. So just have a couple breaths here and notice what's starting to happen to your breath. It might be getting a little bit more labored as you start to get warm, right? You start to get a little heated. Draw your shoulders down your spine, away from your ears. Take one more deep breath in. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows towards the back of your mat. Come all the way down to your belly. Nice and slow. Untuck your toes. Press all 10 of your toenails into the ground, keep your hands where they are, and then roll your shoulders away from you, coming into baby cobra. It's the first back bend. As you do this, stay for a few breaths. See if you can press your hips into your mat without using your glutes, right? So if you can relax your butt, right? Relax your glutes so that you're using your back muscles to lift you up. Slide your shoulder blades towards your spine. Keep your gaze a little bit down so you're not crunching your neck. You don't want to have your head like way up like this, right? Take one more deep breath in. And then exhale, release, come down. Straighten your arms, come right back to child's pose. So take your hips back onto your heels, relax your head. Couple deep breaths here. Push down and forward with your hands, soften your hips even further back onto your heels. By now, maybe things are starting to feel a little bit more open. One more deep breath in here. And one more deep breath out. And then as you inhale, you're going to crawl right back to plank pose. Hands under your shoulders. Take your time getting here. You're going to have your knees on the ground, or if you feel like you're ready for it, tuck your toes, straighten your legs, squeeze everything in towards the midline of your body like you're squeezing it towards your belly button. Lift the back of your neck towards the sky. Make a really straight line from the top of your head all the way to your heels. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, lower all the way down to your mat. Elbows bending back. Untuck your toes. Lift your heart for cobra pose. Inhale here. Slide your shoulders down your spine. And then exhale, slowly release. Now this time, you're going to tuck your toes. Inhale your way up to tabletop pose. And then straighten your legs. Take your knees off the ground, coming to the first downward facing dog. So this might be your first downward facing dog of the day, might be your first downward facing dog ever, of the week, of the month, whatever it is. Just know that every time you do this pose, it's going to feel different. So check in with your body, see how you feel today. Drop your head low, sink your heels down towards your mat, and they don't have to touch, but just think about getting a nice stretch in the backs of your legs. You can pedal your feet out a little bit, one by one. Bend into one knee and then the other. And then slide your shoulders away from your ears. You want a really nice long neck. And then try to evenly distribute your weight between all 10 of your fingers, right? So you're not just using your wrists, you're using your knuckles, your finger pads, and then this webbing right between your index fingers and your thumbs. This is really important because there are a lot of yoga poses that use your wrists, right? They use your hands. So you want to make sure that you're not dumping all your weight right into the base there. And then from here, you're going to look up between your hands, come up high onto your tippy toes, and then just really softly baby step your way all the way to the top of your mat, coming into Uttanasana forward fold. Drop your head low. Let your arms totally relax, and you can even grab opposite elbows here, sway a little bit side to side. Again, just really thinking about length from your hips, your tailbone, all the way up your spine to the top of your head. And it's also important to note here that you don't want to put any stress on your low back, so you don't have to have your legs straight. If they're straight, that's fine as long as you're not locking them out, but you can have them bent slightly. You can even have them bent a lot so that your belly's resting on your thighs. And try to shift a little more weight out of your heels towards the fronts of your feet, lifting your hips up more, dropping your head lower. And then from here, you're going to bring your hands to the ground or to your shins. It's up to you. Inhale to lengthen your spine, using your hands to create that traction, pulling your spine long, sending your heart forward, and then exhaling to fold. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, halfway lift, glance up, pull your shoulders away from your ears, and then exhale to fold. So we're getting ready to stand up. Bring your feet together. Your big toe ball mounds are going to be touching, and then your heels are going to be either touching or about 1 inch apart. Drop your head all the way. Pretend to look at your belly button so that your neck is totally released, and then as slow as can be, you're going to roll up to standing, one vertebra at a time. One by one, as if you were unfurling a sleeping bag or unrolling a yoga mat. Your head's going to be the last thing to come up. And here we arrive in Tadasana, mountain pose. So with your feet together, start to just get really strong here, right? As if you were gonna press down with your heels into your mat, and in the big toe balance of your feet, feel your inner thighs kind of roll towards the back of the room as you lift your kneecaps, activate your thighs, pull everything up, like pull energy up from the ground, right? Tuck your tailbone under just a tiny bit. So you're taking that spine and you're making it longer, right? Lengthening your back, widening your low back. Keep your kneecaps lifted, lift your low belly up towards your heart, and then gather in the sides of your rib cage. Make everything strong. Take your arms down by your sides, palms facing forward. Slide your shoulders down your back. Re-engage your core, lift your heart. Take a deep breath in and stretch your arms to the sky. And then as you exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Bend your knees as much as you want here, but try to keep your back flat. On your inhale, hands down, halfway lift. And then on your exhale, fold once more, plant your palms, step both of your feet back to plank pose. So we're going to get into some sun salutations here. The first one we'll do a little bit more slowly. We'll hold each pose for a couple of breaths and then we'll speed it up. So all fingers spread really, really super wide, like starfish, right? Take your index fingers parallel to the long edges of your mat. Press the backs of your knees towards the sky unless you're modifying with your knees on the ground. Totally fine. Just keep your core contracted. Take a last deep breath in here, and then exhale to bend your elbows, coming all the way down to your mat. Untuck your toes. Inhale for cobra pose. Lift your heart. Float your heart off of your mat. Relax your glutes. And then exhale, release. On your inhale, come to hands and knees or plank pose. Push everything off the ground at once. And then on your exhale, send your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here, again, pedaling it out. So think about every time you come back to this pose, kind of everything just gets a little bit more long, a little bit more open. Wrap your triceps back, wrap your biceps forward, and then find that broadness in your upper back. It's a very strengthening pose. And then as you're ready, look between your hands, bend your knees, come up high onto the balls of your feet, and baby step your way all the way up to the top, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, flatten your back, glance forward, and then exhale to fold, coming to standing. So this time, instead of rolling up one vertebra at a time, you're going to bend your knees just slightly, and then with a flat back, lift all the way up. Press your palms together above your head, and then exhale, draw your hands down to the center of your chest. Anjali Mudra. Stand strong, heels down, kneecaps up, belly in, heart up, shoulders down. Draw the sides of your neck towards the back of the room and then lift through the crown of your head. Imagine that you are getting taller. And we're going to speed this up a little bit. Now it's one breath per movement. On your inhale, stretch your arms out and up. Press your palms together above your head. And then exhale, dive forward. Relax your heart over your thighs. Inhale, half lift. Pull your shoulders down away from your ears. And then exhale to fold. Step straight back to plank pose. One breath in to prepare. Stay strong. Exhale, come all the way down to your mat. Inhale for cobra. Shoulders roll away from your ears. Lift your heart. Squeeze your elbows towards each other. And then exhale, release. Beautiful. Tuck your toes to engage your core. Inhale to hands and knees or plank pose. Exhale up and back, downward facing dog, and take a couple of breaths here. Just kind of hang out, shake your head around a little bit side to side. Try to take the tension out of your jaw, so you could even lick your teeth, kind of move your lips around a little bit. Make sure you're not holding any tension where you don't need it. Keep your neck nice and long. And then as you're ready, bend your knees, gaze forward. Engage your core, step or maybe hop all the way to the top of your mat. Drop your head. Inhale to halfway lift, flatten your back, glance forward, and then exhale to fold. Coming to standing once more, flatten your back, soften your knees, inhale, come all the way up, palms touch above your head, and then exhale your hands to prayer. One more like this, and then we'll move on. So as you're ready, stand strong, lift everything, inhale your arms to the sky, and then exhale with a flat back, fall forward. Inhale to half lift, long spine. Exhale to fold, step back to plank pose. Inhale to prepare, really press the ground away with your hands. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Untuck your toes. Inhale for cobra pose. You could float your hands off of your mat if you want to really activate your back muscles. And then exhale to release. Keep your hands where they are. Tuck your toes. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale up and back, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. Really check in. How are you feeling? Are you feeling a little bit longer, a little bit looser? Are you feeling a little bit tired? Whatever it is, honor it, accept it, and then move on. So it's important even with these longer yoga workouts to really check in with yourself as much as possible, right? So if you're not used to practicing for an hour, or even if you are, just constantly check in, constantly ask yourself, am I breathing deeply? Am I engaging everything? Is my face relaxed? Am I listening to my body? As you're ready, bend your knees, gaze forward, step or hop to the top of your mat, drop your head, breathe. So, I'm going to take you through a few rounds of Sun Salutation B, Surya Namaskar B. The first one is going to move a little bit more slowly, and then we'll go through a couple rounds on the breath. This should get things heated up pretty well. So as you're ready, go ahead and inhale to come to standing. Flatten your back, lift up, big breath in, press your palms together above your head, and then exhale your hands to prayer. So Surya Namaskar B is a little bit more involved than the Sun Salutation A that we just did. It's going to start off in chair pose. So like I said, we'll spend a couple breaths in each pose. Feel free to stop anytime. Feel free to go faster if you want. From here, you're going to start to sit your hips low. So think about taking your butt towards the back of your mat rather than just dropping down low. The reason you want to do this is because if you just drop your hips down low, then your knees are going to pop out in front of your feet. You don't want that. You don't want pressure on your kneecaps, right? So with your feet together, knees together, kind of start sticking your butt back as if someone like had you by the belt loop, right? And they're pulling you back. That's going to keep your knees centered right over your ankles. And then start to come down enough that with your arms straight, you could brush the ground with your fingertips. So that's going to be your chair pose, right? Keep pressing down in the big toe ball mounds of your feet and in your heels. And then as you're ready, lift up your heart. Utkatasana is the Sanskrit name. It's called awkward chair for obvious reasons. And you're going to kind of keep energetically drawing your hips back as if someone kind of had a chair behind you and they're pulling it out, right? Like they do in grade school, or at least they used to do that to me. All right, so squeeze your knees together, squeeze your inner thighs together, and then find a little bit of cobra in your upper back, right? So you're going to really just kind of push your chest forward, but then keep in mind that you don't want to lose core engagement. So with your rib cage, you're going to kind of draw your ribs in, curl your tailbone in. You want to make a flat back, so no crazy arching, no over rounding, right? Lift your arms up. If you can, try pulling your biceps back towards your face, maybe even behind your ears, but don't lose this core engagement, right? Lift your low belly up towards your heart. Take one more deep breath in here, stay strong, and as you exhale, fold forward, straighten your legs, drop your head. Inhale to halfway lift, flatten your back. And then exhale to fold. You're going to move through your flow, step your feet back, nice and steady. Stay strong, inhaling to prepare. And then exhaling to bend your elbows, come all the way down to your mat. Toes untuck, inhale for cobra pose, lift your heart, float your palms, really engage your back muscles here. And then exhale, release. Inhale to hands and knees or plank pose, engage everything. And then exhale up and back, downward facing dog. All right. So from here, really press the ground away with your hands, keep your neck long, lift your right leg up into the air. So sometimes the tendency is for the hips to splay open, and that's fine for other poses, but for right now we're going to keep them closed. So you want to think about both hip tips being equidistant from the ground. See if you can drop your left heel a little closer down, and then lift through your right heel. So everything's straight, and you might feel a pretty good stretch in your left hamstring, right? Take one more inhale, maybe lift an inch higher, and then as you exhale, you're going to bring your right foot between your hands. If If it doesn't make it quite there, just grab your ankle, step it up a little bit more, right? Spin your left foot down at about 45 degrees. Super glue the outer edge of your left foot to the ground before you go anywhere. Take your right thumb right into your right hip crease and draw it back. And we're getting ready to come all the way up into Warrior One. Engage your core and then lift all the way up. So you're in a lunge. And if you've done my other videos with